San Francisco 49ers and Kansas City Chiefs at NFL Super Bowl opening night in Las Vegas. Some quotes to note, and the faithful, they showed up big. All that and more coming up on today's Locked On 49ers.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker at BD Peacock at Eric_Crocker. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Appreciate all the everydayers out there. Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcast. Today's episode of Locked On 49ers is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Croc, first I got to ask you, before we get into the Las Vegas scene there, the opening night and all the 49ers fans that were in the house, which was awesome. Was it tough for you to be in Las Vegas doing your football thing and you know, coaching athletes and doing all that and football stuff the weekend before the Super Bowl, seeing the signage out for the Super Bowl, knowing the 49ers are in it, and then coming home right before all this stuff is going down in Las Vegas? How hard was that for you to leave that scene?
It's very upsetting. And if not for me loving the kids and being, you know, a loyal coach to them, if it weren't for that, I probably would have went right back out there maybe on Wednesday and stayed all the way through Sunday. But we actually have a tournament. I don't know who the heck scheduled it that way, but we have a tournament Saturday, the day before the Super Bowl. So it kind of threw all Vegas plans off. But yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. See the 49er fan. Matter of fact, we're leaving Vegas, trying to get back to the freeway. They had blocked everything off, and we were in the wrong lane. We're trying to get over, and I rolled the window down to our Sprinter van, and I look into the car, and I said, "Hey, can we pass you?" And the guy says, "Croc, bang, bang, Niner gang." And I was like, "Oh, well, that's what's up." Okay.
And did he let you pass?
And he let us pass.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, see, dude, the faithful was strong, man. I mean, I know there's a lot of 49ers fans in Las Vegas, but there's a lot of 49ers fans that traveled to Las Vegas for this as well. I mean, you could tell this was a home game event. I don't know what it's going to be like for the actual seats at the game. Usually the Super Bowl is not the most raucous crowd because of the clientele that ends up going and the deep pockets that you have to have. You don't usually get the loudest, most diehard fans in some cases. Some fans are so diehard, it doesn't matter how much it costs to get a ticket. They'll be at the Super Bowl if their team's playing. And I know there's some of our listeners that are going to be there, and we'd love to hear from you if you are going to be at the Super Bowl. But I know for sure they were willing to throw down on the opening night media festivities because it was a home game there for the San Francisco 49ers. Anytime anything was mentioned, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, anything Chiefs related was mentioned, just boos from the crowd. And then Doris roars for everybody. Kittle, Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, and some of them played it up to the crowd a little bit too on both sides. Chris Jones was having some fun with it. Travis Kelce was having some fun with it. Travis Kelce and George Kittle, you know, they're buddies, and tight end university and all that. And it was funny to see them kind of do their wrestling promos, and the crowd was into it. And so it was a lot of fun at the opening night, just see everybody react, and a lot of mutual respect between the two teams, you can tell.
You know, the funny thing about that with the 49ers kind of, you know, fans taking over, when I first got to Vegas, and I got there Friday, I was gone by, you know, Sunday afternoon. But I sat down at the table, blackjack tables, and the guys next to me said, "Oh, 49er fan." I had the all-red 49er hat on. And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Man, me too. We're from Missouri. We're here, but we're outnumbered. There's more Chiefs fans here than 49ers." And I said, "Man, that's interesting considering how close the 49ers are." But now you hear what happened today on TV. It's like, oh, no, the 49er fans are definitely representing the fan base there, and that's very clear.
maybe the 49ers fans go more Airbnb route versus the Kansas City Chiefs fans that were at the hotels. Maybe that's what's happening, because I can't imagine there's more Chiefs jerseys on the streets than 49ers jerseys there right now. And I know Chiefs fans travel hard too, and they're a well-loved organization, but it was pretty interesting to hear how overwhelmingly favored the 49ers were at the opening night festivities.
I think that helps. I think when I'm playing in the tournament, we lost to Low Pro. It's a team that is local there in Nevada. A lot of great talent on that team. And it's like the 4th round of the playoffs. So everybody's kind of going crazy. Everybody's watching. But they're from Las Vegas. And anytime they did anything, it could have been a 5-yard catch, a 7-yard catch. Their crowd is going crazy. I didn't even know that got a real crowd in 707. That's crazy in itself. But their crowd is going wild. And their players all fed off of that. They're the kids out there. They're feeding off of their crowd and getting loud for them and cheering, and they're playing to the fans. And, obviously it's just the media stuff today. But when it comes to the games, if the 49ers fans outnumber Chiefs fans, it does help. Like, it does help from a momentum standpoint. Juices flowing, just knowing that you're well represented there. Like that stuff, like players are, humans, they can kind of feed into that stuff and get things going. So I'm excited to see if it still continues to be this way once the actual game comes, or the California people, flood Las Vegas early, and Kansas City people will be coming in a little bit closer to the actual game day.
I'm interested to hear what the crowd is like, because the 49ers have traveled so well, especially recently, in every home game, away playoff games. It doesn't matter. So there's an opportunity to get a little advantage there for the 49ers if there is that many fans like it was at this opening night ceremony. If it's like that during the game on Sunday, I mean, that'll be a huge boost for the 49ers. Travis Kelce tried to spin it as he was loving it. It was going to make him play harder because he was getting booed by the 49ers fans there. I'm not sure I buy that one. But he looked like he was ready to go. And I can't wait for the future WWE event that has both Kelce and Kittle in it at some point. Kittle's already done that quite a bit. Kyle Shanahan kind of squashed the grass gate, the whole grass, squishy grass, hardness levels. I never thought we'd be talking about hardness levels on the podcast, Croc. The grass was at a 50, which is fairly soft. Apparently, it should be in the 70s somewhere.
A little flaccid.
Yeah. That kind of grass, man. It's hard to cut on that kind of grass. Hard to perform, with that level of hardness with the turf. So when it comes to Kyle Shanahan, and first of all, it's probably just because he realized nothing was going to change, so he had to, just be like, okay, this is the grass we got. But Roger Goodell said that there was 23 different experts out there examining the field at UNLV where the 49ers are practicing. The Players Union was out there. All of them think it's playable surface, according to Jonathan Jones. It's softer than what they've practiced on, but it's been approved by experts, and so the 49ers are okay with it. And Kyle Shanahan says they're not going to do anything about the field. They're going to practice on the field at UNLV, and this is how it was kind of coach speak from Kyle. I'm sure he wasn't happy because those were the reports earlier in the day. He said the practice field at UNLV has been improving every day, and that the team's practices will not be altered. Well, they've only been there one day, so I don't know how they would know if the field's getting better every day, because it was planted 2 days ago, and they just got there and have been on the field for the first time on Monday. So that's what Kyle Shanahan had to say about it. They're going to practice on the field, and hopefully it's not if it's just squishy grass, whatever, who cares? As long as it's not it doesn't pose a threat to players getting injured or something like that. That'd be the only worry for me about what their grass surfaces that they're practicing on.
If the experts are out there and they're saying it's good to go, then, my biggest thing is, hey, man, control what you can control. Mm-hmm. You go out there, you make sure that, you have, a practice that makes sure everybody's safe, and let's go. Well, you can't do anything about it. So go out there, practice hard. And I think people are going to follow their leader. If Kyle Shanahan has the attitude and mindset of it's fine, a little squishier than we're used to, but you'll be fine, I think the players will be just okay. They'll fall in line.
Squishy grass, they'll start practicing Wednesday for real, and we'll get some more injury reports later on in the week. Kyle's going to have an extra day to, and hopefully, the festivities on Monday night could go deep into the morning. I think everyone needs to be smart about this, right? They're in Las Vegas. Kyle might have had a certain drink. I don't think it was coffee in his coffee cup. More on the quotes from Shanahan, from Brock Purdy, from 49ers, from the opening night festivities. And I got a listener question for you, Croc, about how the 49ers are going to defend the Kansas City Chiefs Sunday next. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to be sure that you can find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. And LinkedIn just isn't some other job board. We're talking about a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, billion with the B professionals. I'm on LinkedIn. You're on LinkedIn. Everyone's already on LinkedIn. That's why it makes it the best place to hire. And it gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else in some cases. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Tons of tools at LinkedIn to help you post and sift through your candidates. And when you find that many quality candidates, that's why it's so easy. In fact, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours at LinkedIn Jobs. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. And if you want to get involved in the action, FanDuel is the way to go. Super Sunday or any other day for that matter, because everything is covered, not just NFL football, but happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And if you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snacks and beverages, and placing some super bets. FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W or 2 or 3. Not only can you bet on who will win the Super Bowl, but FanDuel has bets for which players will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored. How about this prop bet that I love, and it's Brock Purdy versus Patrick Mahomes, who will have more passing yards. You might be surprised to learn that Purdy averages more passing yards per game this season than Patrick Mahomes even did, and you can get better odds in your favor for placing that bet on one Brock Purdy. Is that the way it's going to go? I don't know, but you can get in on that action at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So getting back into the festivities that were Monday night Super Bowl opening, what do they call it? Super Bowl opening night, I think is what they call it. Media day is what they used to call it, but no, it's a bigger, more fancy event, and it's held at night. Croc, when I saw Kyle Shanahan walk into this event, it's after 5 p.m. and he has his normal coffee mug, like coffee cup, paper coffee cup. He's always got it at every press conference, just about. And I was like, if it's me and I got a coffee cup that doesn't have a label on it and it's after 5 p.m., probably not coffee in it. And numerous people noticed the same thing with Kyle Shanahan, and he was having a little fun, I think, in the night. And hopefully that doesn't go too deep in the night for Kyle Shanahan and a lot of the 49ers players that got to reel it in. This is a business trip, as we said, but I think maybe the Monday night was the night to cut loose. And they had a little walkthrough earlier in the day, and Kyle Shanahan, I think, was hitting it. So maybe this is a party night for the San Francisco 49ers. As long as nobody gets in trouble, I guess it's okay.
Usually Tuesday is a day off. So if there is any time to get a little toasted, it'll probably be Monday. And, maybe try to loosen up, have a little fun for all this, because Kyle may not care to do all this media stuff. But he said, let me get a little sip, get a little, start to feel a little good. And as someone who has, maybe drank a little, got a little too toasted, a little too comfortable, and then had to record a podcast, and how hard you try to focus, but people can notice your cadence changes a little bit, words come out a little different, your mannerisms are a little different. Kyle was definitely drinking something other than coffee.
I think he might have been, man, because I can't imagine what. Yeah, I mean, I know some people like have coffee after dinner. I can't hang with that. I can't do that. I already can't sleep as it is, and I can't drink. If it's past noon, I'm not drinking any more coffee. And I love coffee. I'll drink coffee in the morning, but in the PM, not happening. And definitely after 5 p.m., it is not happening unless I'm trying to stay up all night. And when I was like cramming for exams at school or something like that. But one thing really, and look, these teams these teams know that the other team is good. They've both been in a number of Super Bowls and championship games over the course of the last 4 or 5 years. But one thing that really stood out to me is Brock Purdy. And it's just this dude he's young, Croc. He's too young to be this advanced. And you see how advanced he is as a football player on the field, the mentality he brings to it. And then you just hear him speak. And to be honest with you, he's got better coach speak than Kyle Shanahan does, right? If you just saw typed out, you saw a Kyle Shanahan press conference and didn't know who they were, how old they were, and you saw a Brock Purdy press conference typed out and you didn't know how old they were, you would think that Brock Purdy's the more mature person, right? It's insane to hear him speak, and he's so mature. He's got a lot of wisdom in him, and he's talking about this is his first Super Bowl. This is a huge event, right? This is your heart should be pounding out of your chest. And he's just calm and collected, didn't react to the crowd cheering or booing or anything really. He did give a little shout out to the faithful, but he said, quote, "Life isn't about you. It's about being part of something bigger than yourself and giving love on other people and love on your teammates." And it's just like, dude, this dude is in his second year in the NFL. He was in college 2 seasons ago, and he's just so advanced from the neck up. And so it's why he's a great player. It's why he's a great leader, and his teammates feed off him. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, just heaping tons of praise on his quarterback, talking about how he's earned it at every step and how he had so few reps, and the way he walked in and commanded the team from jump was just special. So there's something, it's not arm strength. There's something special though about Brock Purdy. There's something else going on with this guy. He's different.
When you just that part, if you want to single that part out, I think that comes from how rooted he is and grounded he is within his faith. When you are a believer to the extent that Brock Purdy is, and if you go back to even Iowa State, he has always spoke the same way. So he's kind of following the instructions of the Bible and how you're supposed to be, and really living that out. So that's how it comes off to me more than anything else. I don't think it's fake. I don't think it's a facade. I don't think it's any of that. I think it's how grounded he is within his faith, and again, just living that truth. And then I think it comes off as, wow, this guy's just super mature.
Yeah, grounded is a good term for it, and he embodies it too. Yeah, it's not just, he's not paying lip service to this stuff. He's not just repeating stuff he heard. He's living it, right? And so it's pretty cool to see at his young age, and that's why he's won over the locker room so quickly as a young guy. He's the youngest guy in the offense when he's out there, and he's the leader, and they follow him and they believe in him, and it's pretty special to see from Brock Purdy. And next, Croc, I got a question for you about how the 49ers cover a certain player on their football team. But they, I want to roll this by you, because this was not related to the 49ers or the Chiefs or the Super Bowl. But did you hear about Diana Rossini's report about Mike Vrabel and why he didn't get hired as a head coach?
Something about people not clicking with him or not being a good fit. Was it that? It
was along those lines, but the reason was weird. This is on from the Athletic Football Show. Quote, "I don't think there was a fit for him. I don't think he sat in front of any owner who thought his style was going to work for what they were looking for." And this is where it gets weird. "I had a GM at the Senior Bowl who mentioned to me Vrabel's physical build, that he's a very large human being and can be very intimidating to people in an organization that are going to be part of these decisions, and that is a factor." He's too big to be a head coach. That's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard, Croc. Like, maybe if he's like physically acting like he's gonna fight people, maybe, but like just being a large human being, there's a lot of large human beings in the NFL. Some of them are gonna become coaches, and he wasn't even that big for a linebacker, really, was he? I mean, he's a big guy, but I thought that's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard. It was like, nope, sorry, John Madden, you're too big to be a coach. Andy Reid's huge. Andy Reid weighs more than Mike Vrabel does.
I'm trying to look up Vrabel's combine numbers to see just, how tall was this guy? I don't think he's huge like that. Okay, 76 inches divided by 12. So whatever that is, that's how tall he is.
Oh,
sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, there we go. Yeah, I was looking up to see,
6'2".
You said what?
6'2", 6.
That's not even that big. When you have Dan Campbell out there for the Lions, that looks like he's 6'6" and lifts every weight and eats every weight and all kinds of things.
And chewing people's kneecaps off at his opening press conference, right? That's a pretty intense dude and a very large dude, and he was big for a tight end. So Vrabel listed 6'4", 260. So yeah, it's pretty big. 6'4", 260. Yeah, what did you say? 76 inches? Yeah, so 6'4" and 260. He was kind of that hybrid edge linebacker type of a guy that Bill Belichick likes. So he's pretty big.
6'4", if you're an NFL 6'4", if like at the combine you measure it, and in person you probably look more 6'5", 6'6". So I could see how he can maybe look like a large person, but are you that insecure that you're scared of someone just being a bigger human than you?
Does he walk around like he's about to fight somebody if they disagree with him? That would make sense.
Right.
That would make sense at any size, because then you're just an ass and get him out of the building, right? Which is what ended up happening in Tennessee. But if you're just a pretty big guy, I mean, that's not that 6'4", 260. Come on. You're going to encounter those people in the NFL. And
so I wonder how people view Dan Campbell then, because he looks much more like he has this more aggressive look to him than because even with Vrabel's still a little soft. So I feel like he has still that look of you can kind of relate to as an older man, whereas Dan Campbell is just like rock solid muscle, chewing tobacco 24/7, just muscles. You can see the muscles, the back of his shoulders poking up.
Puts more time in at the gym than Vrabel does.
Doesn't skip shoulder day at all.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah.
That would be a little bit more intimidating to come across if I was
Dan Campbell.
Vrabel just looks big. But he looks bigger, but he still looks like a normal. Looks
like a normal, unhealthy coach, because that's not a healthy lifestyle in some cases. Right. Dan Campbell, and these are both referenced from their playing days. Dan Campbell listed as 6'5", 265. Anyway, I don't know. I just want to run that by you because that was some weird stuff. And I'm sure there's egos and people getting physical, but have you ever encountered that where you were part of football and we're like, this guy's too big, too intense to be involved in this sport and be a leader? I don't know. That's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
People like football guys. I would assume you look at Vrabel and it's like, oh, okay, how you doing, Vrabel? This is a football guy. I would love for this man to run our organization, to be the face of our team, to lead our men. Like he's eye level with all the guys. Do you want everybody to look like Mike McDaniel?
This is, I would say, if you were to do body mass index, this is the best shape group of 32 head coaches we've ever had in NFL history. You agree with that?
I would agree with that.
I think they're trending
because you have the LaFleurs and Saleh, and I guess it's just that whole
more money spent on haircuts for sure.
Yeah. And I guess they have a more relatable look.
Yeah, they look more CEO-like, I guess, when they walk in the room. Look like they could carry a briefcase. More time.
They all look like the guy. Gosh, what's that actor's name? Was he in Crash? He's always. Anyway, I can't think of his name right now, so I'm not going to bring it up. But they all have this certain look to them that they can like fit in this movie role, and maybe that's what these, which I think is wild. But
yeah,
I guess that's more relatable to people interviewing than whatever Mike Vrabel looks like to them.
Than a brute. All right, next, Croc. I got a question for you about how the 49ers defend the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Next. Today's episode of Locked On 49ers is brought to you by DoorDash. Does the game go to timeout? Time to order in with DoorDash. Is it halftime? That's ordering time. 2-minute warning, you got it. That's your cue to order in. And we're talking about the big game. When you're talking about your football watch party this weekend, not only can you have a killer spread from all of your favorite spots, get those bullet bourbon wings from Keys R Pub, right? in San Francisco, that is. I talked about Cantina yesterday, Sunset Cantina, another great spot, good football food spot for sure. And maybe you're grilling out and you're cooking your own stuff, but you need that extra bit of groceries. You need some chips on the side. You need some more drinks. You need some sodas or burgers. You need the buns for your burgers that you're already grilling up on Sunday. DoorDash can get it delivered right away, right to your door. And you can get 50% off up to $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order when you download the DoorDash app and enter code LOCKED23. Subject to change, terms apply. Don't forget to use code LOCKED23 for 50% off up to $10 value on your first order when you download the DoorDash app and spend $15 or more. And today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience. What brings home the Lombardi is also what brings home your ride or die. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and tons more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. I love the Guaranteed Fit. Big green check mark right on your part. You know it fits, and it is that easy, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, Croc. This was asked to us by a listener, and I want to throw it by you, because when you start breaking down this football game, there's just some very obvious stuff. One of them is, if you're trying to slow down the Kansas City Chiefs passing game, you're probably less worried about Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Rashee Rice and Richie James, friend of the podcast, Sky Moore. They got a lot of dudes and play a lot of different roles and kind of filter in and out of the game at different times. But on third down, it's Travis Kelce. So when the 49ers line up on third and medium, third and long, should the 49ers best cover guy, who's a pretty big-bodied corner in Charvarius Ward, should they have him manning up against their best pass catcher, which is tight end Travis Kelce?
I definitely wouldn't mind it, but this is what I would do. I would do something a little different. Put Charvarius Ward, who's the 49ers best cover guy, in my opinion, put him on whoever the second best guy is. And this was a strategy that the New England Patriots used to use. Put Stephon Gilmore on the second best receiver. And then on the guy we're expecting to potentially get the ball, we're going to work a bracket on him with two guys. So whether it's Diamador Lenore and someone who Diamador might be a little too small for Travis Kelce. All right, but it could be Everett Thomas. It could be Logan Ryan. Like, that could be a specific role for Logan Ryan. And you bracket him with either Tayshaun Gibson or maybe a linebacker or whatever.
Fred Warner and Logan Ryan.
Essentially, you have four eyeballs directly responsible for Travis Kelce and bracketing him. One guy that's going to take him in and vertical, or someone that's going to take him out and vertical. And whichever way he goes, you have a guy there ready to plaster on him wherever he's going. So I would go that route. Two guys, kind of the others, on Kelce. Make sure you have four eyeballs on him, and then put my best cover guy on Rashee Rice, and then Diamador Lenore on someone else. Now, that all sounds great, and it's like, oh man, that we could cook that up. But if I know anything about the 49ers, they typically do the opposite of what I think they should do. And more times than not, I think it has worked out well for them. So I think we assume, they're going to go in here, they're going to double team, and they're going to bracket them. But I bet they just go out there and just play their game and hope that their pass rush gets to the quarterback.
Their D-line's going to have to show up big. They're going to have to be much more sound much earlier in the game than they were the last two playoff games. They got to start fast against that team, and they got to be setting the edge, right? And they got to be gap sound. The one quote really, and this quote stands out way more than anything from the Super Bowl opening night, was after the game, Nick Bosa last week after the Detroit Lions game. And he said there were guys that were not doing what they're supposed to do. They didn't have their gaps. They were not doing their responsibilities in the first half. And we fixed that in the second half, right? And that's huge. And we've talked a lot about the effort thing already, and I mean, you just can't. And I think you're 100% right on that. And I was going to answer a much shorter version of that. When anybody asks, hey, should the 49ers do blank? My answer is always like, maybe, but they're not going to. They're going to do what they do, right? And especially on the defensive side of the ball. We know what the scheme is. We know what it looks like. And we've talked about it to their detriment sometimes. It's a really static defense. So, offenses know what they're going to try to do against them, and they know what they're going to get. But the Niners guys are better than your guys. So good luck. And it's a sound scheme. So there'll not be a lot of space in there for you to operate and do that thing that you think you're going to be able to do. And I expect the same. The last question was the one with Jair Brown and Logan Ryan. Who do you start at safety there? Do you like Brown at safety and then utilizing that extra chess piece with Logan Ryan in the slot or safety or wherever you need him?
Yeah, I think I would go that route. Go with the kind of the younger guy in that. You can always make that switch if need be. But then also having Logan Ryan, who's a veteran. I mean, he's played in a lot of big football games. This won't be too big for Logan Ryan. And not only has he played in a lot of big football games, he also has played a lot of big football games at multiple different positions. I mean, this was a guy that was a cornerback, then he was a nickel, he's a safety. He's done it all. So he still has those kind of pure coverage skills, especially to be able to guard a bigger guy like Travis Kelce. Man, you work that in with a bracket on him, that would be the way that I go.
And I still think, man, the base D line, they should start Eric Armstead at end, put Kinlaw in there at tackle, get your four beastliest dudes in there on rundowns, and then rotate from there. But,
and we explained it before, just having that big end out there really helps with those, whether it's a toss, outside zone, someone that can really get out there and set the edge. I imagine that Kadarius Toney, Richie James, they'd have a hard time being able to seal off Eric Armstead. He won't have the same problems that Chase Young and Nick Bosa have had over the last couple of weeks.
Key to victory number 1. I know it's not Keys to Victory episode. Don't let Richie James get hot now. Revenge game for Richie James. Keep him in his place. Don't let the 49ers almost allowed a return touchdown in the playoffs. So don't let Richie James get hot. Can't do that. All right. Thanks everybody for making this your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Make sure you check out Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming coverage. Subscribe on YouTube. You can find it on your smart TVs as well. And as it becomes available on more services, we'll also let you know that. And of course, thanks to all the everydayers out there. Croc and I back tomorrow, getting closer to Super Bowl 58 right here. Locked On 49ers.